Lights starts now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Under the Lights. Dan Millay coming to y'all from our CBS19 studios to recap the Texas high school football state semifinals. Both of our 4A teams found themselves in rematches here in the penultimate game of the playoffs. So without further ado, let's talk about them. Starting with Kilgore, the Bulldogs taking the field here at McLean Stadium in Waco, ready to take on the Vernia Bears. Bulldogs win the toss and receive. They'll have possession first here in this state semifinal rematch. Opening drive facing a 4th and 3 from the 35. Kason Brooks hands off to Isaiah Waters for the first down to keep the chains moving. A few plays later, Brooks drops back, looks to the end zone, and there he finds Jacalyn Sheffield for the touchdown. Extra point was good. Bulldogs go up 7-0 over Vernia. The Bulldog defense was smothering, forcing the Bears into 3-and-outs on their first 3 drives of the game, and we're going to see that reflected in the final score. Late first quarter, Kilgore back with possession. Brooks hands off to Isaiah Waters. Again, he does some slick moves, bouncing off his own teammate, and then crashing down just short of the goal at the 1-yard line. First play of the second quarter, Brooks takes the snap and goes for the QB sneak. That's another touchdown for the Bulldogs. They're up 14-0 over the Bears. Next possession, Brooks warms up his arm. He'll find Dre Sanders running all alone right into the breadbasket. Sanders can just trot into the end zone. How about a 71-yard touchdown? Extra point is good. It's all Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs defense won't let up. They swarm around the wide receiver screen pass to halt another Bears drive. Relentless. Vernia punts it away here, but they wish they had it. It's Lakeelion Graves making the catch and running all the way back for another Bulldog touchdown. It is now 28-0 in favor of Kilgore at the end of the half. And well, the second half, much of the same. Kilgore downs Vernia 49-0 in the state semifinals, people. Kilgore will play Stephenville in the 4A D1 final next week. Over at Mesquite Memorial Stadium, it's a 4A D2 state semifinal rematch. Another one, the Carthage Bulldogs versus the Brock Eagles. A lot of eyes on this game tonight. Starting the first quarter here, Jet Surratt hands it off to KJ Edwards, and he immediately picks up speed, creates space, takes it all the way to the end zone with nobody in sight. He's moving so fast, the camera can hardly keep up with him. The Texas A&M commit doing his thing tonight. We've seen it all season long. Here, Brock's Holt Frazier is going to pass deep to Colt Matlock, who scrambles along the sideline before eventually being ushered out of bounds. Maybe more of a push out of bounds there. Frazier has some more possession here on this next play. He can't escape it, and he is going to be taken down by Tylen Williams. Carthage Bulldogs, they can get it done on both sides of the ball. People, no weaknesses. Brock able to move downfield, though, setting up this play. Davis Lee hauls it right into the end zone for the score. All right, so Brock getting on the board, not a goose egg like Vernia. Back with Carthage with possession. Jet Surratt back at it, quickly throws it 32 yards downfield to Junior Henderson for a Bulldog touchdown. The usual suspects tonight for the Bulldogs: Junior Henderson, KJ Edwards, Jet Surratt. These are household names in East Texas, folks. Frazier looking to close the gap. Watch this throw deep into the hands of Tylen Williams. That's the wrong team, and that's an interception for Carthage. Just when it looked like the Bears had some momentum, they get the ball right back. Fans are loving it. And right here, back on offense, Surratt with the handoff to who else? KJ Edwards. He speeds his way through the holes, but eventually brought down by Gage LaRue, but enough to pick up the first down there. And a couple plays later, Surratt is going to launch it to Carson Crawford into the end zone for another Carthage touchdown. Bulldogs not playing nice tonight, folks. And then, well, they'll do it all again. After a couple plays, Surratt finds Junior Henderson, this time in the end zone. Carthage just pouring it on in this one. Let's see that final score. Wow. All right, Carthage 49-21 over Brock. And the Bulldogs will play West Orange Stark in the 4A D2 final. Man, how about it? Couple of dubs. Love to see it. Well, coming up after the break, we'll check back in with Jimmy Searfoss at Randall Reed Stadium with Mount Enterprise highlights and some insight into Kay Ganash's chase towards Texas high school football rushing history. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Under the Lights kickoff show. We're going to go out to Jimmy Searfoss and New Caney to recap Mount Enterprise Shiner. But first, let's talk about the Wildcats' Kagan Ash, our player of the week. We don't usually like to double up on the award, but when you run for over 500 yards, score 8 touchdowns, and break a more than 70-year-old state record while propelling your team to the state semifinals like Ash did last week, well, exceptions must be made.
CBS19 Sports Player of the Week, sponsored by East Texas Professional Credit Union.
Kagan Ash is having the best season in Texas rushing history. Over 4,000 yards and counting. Over 70 touchdowns and counting. He's led his team to the state semifinals. But
do you think people know that you're a really good linebacker too?
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, he's a Division I linebacker, so that's pretty good. You know, we think he's really talented, and we think he can play anything at the next level.
But for now, he's taking his team to the next level of the playoffs after breaking the Texas all-time single-season rushing record. A record that stood for 72 years, and a feat that has stood on the mind of every sports talking head. But has Mr. Ash thought about it?
Nah. Going into the season, the only thing I was worried about was like averaging a lot of yards.
So if you hear that, you could probably guess how he'd feel about breaking the all-time Texas rushing record, of which he's just 90 yards away.
I mean, it's cool enough, but I'm just more blessed to be put in the position to run the ball since my freshman year, and that's thanks to my coaches.
Because there's just one thing occupying Mr. Ash's mind right now.
Like my close friends that I grew up since pre-K, that I play with this dude, I play with all these guys. That's gonna mean more to me than these records, which the records are cool, I guess, but I'm more excited for them experiencing this cool thing that's gonna happen.
And an even cooler thing would be Mount Enterprise going to a state championship, because they've never done that. And that is the only record Ash is really focusing on changing.
Our goal is to win the state championship. That's the only thing I'm worried about. I'm not too worried about the records or any of that. I'm sure once everything's set in more, but right now let's focus on winning the state. Not winning the state, but winning this next game.
Jimmy Searfoss, CBS 19.
Kagan Ash just coming off an unbelievable week of football. Let's go back out to Jimmy Searfoss in New Caney. Jimmy, I know you had eyes on the career rushing record. Kagan says he didn't, but we're all dying to know, did he claim the all-time record, and did that lead to a Mount Enterprise W?
Well, let me tell you, he definitely did, and it's not even like a spoiler alert because we knew that was going to happen at some point in this game, strictly because that's how Mount Enterprise, that's how the offense operates. That's simply how it goes. And now they face a team that tackles unlike any team that we've seen them tackle, or that's tried to tackle Kagan Ash at this point. And another big part of it that really showed tonight was that experience factor, which really started going when the band came out. And it went dun, 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 because the Comanche started the chop, and then they came out firing. All right, y'all, welcome into Randall Reed Stadium in New Caney, where all eyes are on Kagan Ash as he eyes that all-time Texas career rushing record against the best defense in 2A Division II's Shiner, but all eyes quickly turn somewhere else as Shiner wasted no time getting into the end zone. That's Clayton Fick from the line of scrimmage, goes 85 yards to the house for an early Comanche touchdown, and it took a while for Kagan to break out early, but he did for a huge chunk here, getting up field for the first down and a lot more. But after 4 tries, the Shiner defense stands. They keep the Wildcats out of the end zone and switch possessions, and it didn't take long again. Quincy Jones going the long way home. Shiner's offense was explosive in the first half. All of a sudden, Mount Enterprise is down 2 scores to none. The offense is stuffed again, and the defense looking for a stop themselves. They do one better, a one-handed interception from Coy Freeman. Wildcats back with the ball, but couldn't get anything going. Then you blink, and Jones is headed for the end zone again. The lead climbs to 20-0, and then here it is. In the second half, Kagan Ash takes the snap, rolls out right, works through several tackles, and sets the all-time career rushing yards record for the state of Texas on that 9-yard run. Later on, he busts loose again, this time getting a lot more than just 9 before getting downfield and out of bounds nearly into the chest of the cameraman. But he takes a breath on the sideline. Time's winding down. They go with the pass. It goes to Aiden Braden also breaks one, takes it in for 6. Wildcats finally on the board at the end of the half with seconds left to go, and Joshua Bennett goes ahead and converts the 2-pointer to cut the lead 20-8. And it got just a little bit worse after that. Shiner ended up taking this one 28-8, holding Mount Enterprise, an offense that we've seen put up upwards of 70 points, to just 1 touchdown here tonight in the Houston area, something that we haven't seen much at all this season. It all comes to an end tonight.
Yeah, Jimmy, you said it. After so many weeks covering Mount Enterprise, we've seen them score so much over the weeks, and just putting up 8 points this week. Pretty surprising. Jimmy, great stuff as always. Have a safe trip back here to Tyler. Well, after this last break, Jimmy and I will come back to y'all with our final thoughts from tonight. Plus, we'll look back at each Beast Texas squad's final score and preview state final matchups. Hey folks, welcome back to Under the Lights. We're almost ready to pack things up and head on over to CBS 19 Plus. But before we do, we're talking final thoughts from the state semifinals. And of course, I can't do this all by myself, so let's bring back Jimmy Searfoss from Randall Reed Stadium. Whoa, Jimmy, got you on the big screen here. You look ginormous. What are your thoughts here after seeing this Mount Enterprise loss tonight?
Exhaustion, Dan. Let's talk about something. When things wrapped up here in the Houston area, I didn't see many tears coming from Mount Enterprise players, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't happen. But what I did see was exhaustion. You guys, you need to understand that this is basically half of another season. Keep piling on to the other season. Guys, this is a long time. These guys have been grinding it out, hits after hits, workouts after workouts. These kids are exhausted, and it's not that, maybe they're ungrateful for getting here, but now they can finally relax because they've done something that they can really take pride in, and now it's come to an end, and they can look back on and say, wow, we really did all that.
Yeah, Jimmy, and that's well said. That's something we don't think about. This is like a whole other season. They've played 5 games at this point in the postseason. I mean, I can't imagine how exhausted Kagan Ash must be. All right, for myself, I want to talk about Carthage. I mean, what is there to say other than they're the best? And they proved it again tonight. Again, we talked about it in the pregame. Some Brock fans, some Eagle fans kind of felt a little more confident coming into this matchup as compared to last year. Again, this was a state semifinal rematch, but the Bulldogs Bulldogs left no doubt. I mean, there was some points in the game where maybe you thought Brock was getting back into it, but on offense, on defense, Carthage was pulling no punches, just doing everything they had to do and more to come away with a victory tonight to, well, the surprise of nobody. Let's all be honest. All right, now let's hit these final scores one more time before we switch on over to CBS 19 Plus. Starting with last night's game, Joaquin taking on Refugio. That one went back and forth, but in the end it was the Rams coming out on top 37-28. Joaquin will play Hamilton for the 2A D1 title next Wednesday. And a reminder, we'll have extended highlights from that game coming up here soon on CBS 19 Plus. Next, we got Mount Enterprise, that game Jimmy just talked about. Shiner 28-8 over Mount Enterprise. And again, we have not seen the Wildcats score this few points, this little points in a week all year. They were putting up 72, over 70 points. It wasn't unusual to see them up there, but instead it'll be Shiner playing Munster in the 2A D2 final next week. Moving right along, Kilgore blanks Vernia. This is just an absolutely dominant score. Again, this is a state semifinal. This was not a gimme game. This was not a cupcake game, but for the Bulldogs, it might as well have been. They're going back to the state finals where they will play Stephenville. And finally, last but not least, just talked about it, the Carthage Bulldogs, they take down Brock 49-21, just left no doubt. Not quite the goose egg that Kilgore put up against Vernia, but a dominant outing. Carthage will go for ring number 11 under Coach Scott Surratt next week against West Orange Stark in the 4A D2 final. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight on Under the Lights this evening and all season long. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to join us over on CBS 19 Plus in just a few minutes. We'll recap the highlights again. We'll hear from our Beast Texas coaches. Folks, this is it. Finals next week. Be there. Oh, that sweet, sweet music. Hello, folks. Welcome back to Under the Lights Late Night Edition. Dan Millay with you here, and we're going to look back at the state semifinals tonight. The state semifinals. How about it? Let's start with Kilgore. The Bulldogs taking the field at McLean Stadium in Waco, ready to take on the Vernia Bears. Bulldogs would win the toss and receive in this state semifinal rematch. Opening drive, Kilgore facing 4th and 3 from the 35. Kason Brooks hands to Isaiah Waters for the first down to keep the chains moving. A few plays later, Brooks drops back, looks towards the end zone, finds Jacalyn Sheffield for the tutty. Extra point was good, so it's the Bulldogs 7, Vernia 0. Good start for Kilgore. Bulldog defense was smothering, forcing the Bears into 3 and outs on their first 3 drives, and we're going to see that reflected in the final score later on. Late first quarter, Kilgore back with possession. Brooks hands it to Isaiah Waters. Some slick moves, bounces off his own teammate before crashing down right at the 1-yard line. First play of the second quarter now. Brooks takes the snap. A little QB sneak action for the touchdown. It's Bulldogs 14, Bears 0. Kilgore faithful loving it. Next possession, Brooks warms up his arm, finding Dre Sanders running all alone right into the breadbasket. Sanders can just trot into the end zone. 71 yards for the touchdown. Extra points good. It's all Bulldogs, 21-0. And the defense won't let up. They swarm around this wide receiver screen pass to halt another Bears drive. Vernia would have to punt away, but they're going to wish they hadn't. It's Lakalion Graves grabbing it and making it all the way back for another Bulldog touchdown. They can't be stopped. Offense, defense, special teams, it don't matter. It was 28-0 at that point. And let's hear what Coach Clint Fuller had to say after Kilgore completed the win.
You know, our team played incredible. It's not about offense, defense. It's about a team, and we played team football this week. Your concern as a coach is, you know, are we going to get complacent? Are we going to back off? And our kids stepped up to the plate this week for preparation, came out tonight with a lot of energy, a lot of love for each other, and we played outstanding football.
Keep going back to it, folks. In preseason, Lakalion Graves told me, he guaranteed me a return to the state championship game and a win at that. And I mean my word, 49-0 in the state semifinal. Kilgore downs Vernia. They're looking like they could play for a state championship. They'll have that chance next week against Stephenville in that 4A D1 final. All right, Carthage over at Mesquite Memorial Stadium. It's the 4A D2 state semifinal. Another rematch, Carthage Bulldogs versus Brock. Again, these two teams met in this stage last season. Starting the first quarter here, Jet Surratt hands it off to KJ Edwards, who picks up speed, creates space, and takes it all the way to the end zone like a dash, like the Flash. Cameron can hardly keep up with him. The Texas A&M commit, making plays all season long, continues to do it here in the postseason. Brock's Holt Frazier here passes deep to Colt Matlock, who scrambles towards the sideline before eventually getting pushed out of bounds by a handful of Carthage defenders. Frazier with some pressure here, and he's not able to escape it. He'll be sacked by Tylen Williams. The Bulldogs getting it done on both ends, offense and defense. Folks, what are you going to do against Carthage? Brock able to move the ball downfield, though. They set up this play. Davis Lee hauls it into the end zone for the score. All right, okay, I guess that's what you do. I guess you can score against Carthage. Can you beat them, though? Can you beat them, though? Probably not. Jet Surratt back at it, quickly throws it to Junior Henderson, 32-yard completion for another touchdown. The usual suspects going to work tonight for the Bulldogs. Your KJ Edwards, your Junior Hendersons, your Jet Surratts. We know these kids. Frazier looking to close the gap, and watch this deep throw into the hands of Tylen Williams for the interception. Wrong team, buddy. Carthage comes away with possession right there, and here we go. Surratt is going to hand it off quickly after we see the Carthage faithful. Woo! All right, here comes the handoff to KJ Edwards. Speeding through the hole, eventually brought down by Gage LaRue, but not before picking up the first down. A couple plays later, Surratt launches it to Carson Crawford into the end zone for another Carthage touchdown. So many weapons. How do you stop them? And then, well, what do you think they're going to do after that? They're going to score another touchdown. Surratt finding Junior Henderson in the end zone once again. Man, Carthage rolls to victory. They're going back to the finals. Let's hear from Scott Surratt postgame.
Yeah, we're proud. I'm so proud of them, you know, all of them. And we played really well against a great football team, but we'll flush this down and get ready to go really quickly because we know West Orange got a great program.
Scott Surratt, consummate pro, he's like, yeah, we're going to the final again. Whatever. We have to prepare for our next opponent. That's a winner's mentality, folks. Carthage beats Brock 49-21, and the Bulldogs have got West Orange Stark in the 4A D2 final next week. All right, we got Mount Enterprise Shiner. Welcome to Randall Reed Stadium in New Caney. All eyes on Keegan Ash as he eyes the all-time Texas career rushing record. Best defense in 2A D2. But those eyes quickly look somewhere else as Shiner wastes no time getting into the end zone. It's Clayton Frick from the line of scrimmage. How about a cool 85 yards to the house for an early Comanche touchdown. Took a while for Ash to break out, but he breaks out here. Big chunk of yards on this first drive, setting up the Wildcats in the red zone. But after 4 tries, the Shiner defense holds strong. They keep the Wildcats out. Wow, just right at the goal line there. But we're flipping possessions. Didn't take long for Quincy Jones going the other way downfield. Shiner's offense explosive in this first half. All of a sudden, Mount Enterprise is down 2 scores. A massive play on the scoreboard and on the field. The offense is stuffed again. The defense looking to find a stop themselves. They'll do you one better. How about a one-handed interception from Coy Freeman? And the Wildcats get the ball back, but they couldn't do anything with it. And then you blink, and Jones is headed for the end zone again. It's 20-0 in favor of Shiner. Here it is, folks, though, in that second half. Keegan Ash takes the snap, busts out right, works his way through some tackles, and sets the all-time career rushing yards record for the state of Texas on that 9-yard run. Later on, he'll bust loose again and pick up a couple more, a few more, many more than 9 yards moving downfield before nearly hitting the cameraman. Quick feet from Jimmy Searfoss to stay out of the way. Takes a break on the sideline. No winding down, though. This pass goes to Aiden Alsup, breaking one tackle and taking it into the end zone to get the Wildcats on the board. And Joshua Bennett is going to go ahead here and convert the 2-point conversion. Mount Enterprise loves doing that. We all know this. And it's a 20-8 game at the end of the half, but didn't get a whole lot better for Mount Enterprise in that second half. Shiner wins it 28-8. So the Wildcats will not be playing in their first state final game next week. Instead, Shiner will play Munster in the 2A D2 final. All right, looking back to last night's action, welcome to Cypress, Texas at Cy-Fair FCU Stadium. We got a matchup worthy of the most expensive stadium in all of Texas, Powerhouse Refugio taking on the Joaquin Rams. Refugio with the ball first. Ray Lewis, really his name, pitches it out to Xander Wills, who hits the opening hard, charges upfield for a big-time Bobcat gain. A few plays later, Ray Lewis, still really his name, wants it in the corner of the end zone. It's nearly intercepted, but instead it falls into the hands of Leighton Garza, so the Bobcats get on the board first. Joaquin with the ball now. You ever seen a Ram throw a football? Yeah, well, this one finds the tight end Connor Rios, and the Rams are making plays on this drive. They'll finish in the top of the second half. On the other side, pillars it. Junebug Wilson putting the J team on the board. Bobcats back on offense. It's Ray Lewis. Technically, he's Raymond Lewis. Making plays, this time finding the hole, scrambling, turning upfield, and putting Refugio in striking distance. Then it's another weird one in the red zone. Lewis, just like the other guy, makes a crazy play. Doesn't quite go down. It's ruled a touchdown, and that is the last score of the first half. And in the second half now, Joaquin has worked their way back to the goal line. They'll give it off to the big tight end, Connor Rios, who gets real small into the end zone as Joaquin pulls within a score. However, Refugio responds on the very next play of their next possession. Get the ball into the hands of Xander Wills and let him go to work all the way to the other end of the field. This kid's a wrecking ball into the end zone once again to put Refugio back up 2 scores, and that really got this game moving because Jacob Gatlin puts one of the toughest receptions of his career together right there. Battles through several tackles to get the Rams into striking range. From there, Cooper Bragg takes it between the tackles and into the end zone. All of a sudden, this game has turned from a grind into a shootout. Now, if you don't know, the Rams are special when it comes to special teams, and this will show you why they go for the onside kick. Wait for it. Wait for it. The Rams fall on it. One of the stranger onside kicks you've seen, but Joaquin will take possession. They decide to get gutsy again with the next play call. Pass to DB, creeping over the middle. It's nearly intercepted, but Joaquin moves the chains. Rams back to the goal line. It's Junebug Wilson coming up out of nowhere into the end zone. And now it's a 1-point ball game. Rams decide to go for 2. Cooper Bragg outside. Superman into the end zone. Rams take the lead over the top-ranked Bobcats. And what did I tell you? This special teams, well, they're special. Kick it off. It's muffed. Rams fall on it, and they regain possession again. Don't waste any time at all on the offensive end as they find the end zone to put some space in between themselves and Refugio. And hey, why not? Let's go ahead and go for 2. It's what all the cool kids are doing, making it look easy in the process. Are you kidding me? Joaquin, stand up. The defense holds, and that was your ball game. Refugio goes down 37-28. And let's hear what Coach Jared Jones said post-game.
Hey, man, you know, growing up in Joaquin, there ain't a whole lot of nice highways around there. It's a whole lot of dirt roads. And when you're on a dirt road with your buddies back at Joaquin, you know that's a special place. A lot of good memories are made like that. And I was telling our guys, you know, these guys, this is our road. We were here last year. We've been down this road. And those guys, they weren't here last year. They don't know what it took to get here last year and what it took to try to get back this year. It's unfamiliar territory for them. Right there at the end of the game when stuff got hard, that's where we live at. We win games in the fourth quarter. We come from a tough district over there in 11, and we knew if the game got close at the end, we'd be able to make the plays and come away with it.
Sir, how about the Rams, baby? There's that final score once more. Joaquin 37, Big Bad Refugio 28. The Rams are a win away from state championship glory. The only team standing in their way, the Bulldogs of Hamilton, and those two will battle it out on Wednesday night at 7 inside AT&T Stadium. Wow, tremendous stuff. It can't get any better, can it? It can get better, folks. We got top plays. Roll the top plays, please. All right, here we go. Starting with Kilgore. How about this 71-yard bomb from Kason Brooks to Dre Sanders? Folks, 49-0 Kilgore wins. This is the state semifinals. The games are supposed to be closer at this point, but the Bulldogs just making it look easy. And speaking of Bulldogs, let's check out what Carthage was doing tonight. This is at the start of the first quarter. Jet Surratt will hand it off to KJ Edwards, and he kicks the game off right for the Bulldogs down the sideline. He gone. Nobody's going to catch KJ Edwards. Man, oh man, I said it a couple times during the highlights. The camera could hardly keep up with him. He was moving so fast. Carthage wins it. All right, Kagan Ash, well, he was going for the career rushing record tonight, and he got it. This 9-yard gain puts him at 11,233 plus yards for his career. All-time Texas career rushing yards record holder. They've been playing football for a long time here in Texas, folks. This is pretty unbelievable. Congrats to Kagan Ash, even though it comes in a Mount Enterprise loss. And last but not least, going back to last night, Joaquin going onside kick crazy to seal the win against Refugio. This is about midway in the fourth quarter. And there you go, the coach. Yeah, we got it. All right. And this was later on to seal the deal. It's dropped by the Bobcats. The Rams hop all over it. That was all she wrote. Special teams making special plays. All right. Now let's go back and look at all the scores from all those big games, all these semifinal games across a couple nights of play in Beast, Texas. Joaquin beats Refugio 37-28. The Rams will play the Hamilton Bulldogs for the championship on Wednesday. Mount Enterprise falls to Shiner 28-8. So it'll be Shiner and, well, Shiner will be playing in the state final. They're going to Jerry World this year. Kilgore destroys Vernia. Bulldogs, they mean business, folks. They'll play Stephenville for the title on Friday. And Carthage doing Carthage things, just blowing past Brock. And they'll face West Orange Stark looking for state title number 11. 11. That's more than you have fingers, hopefully. I hope so. All right, well, thank you all for tuning in to Under the Lights tonight and all season long. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you had fun. We had fun. I had fun. I won't speak for Jimmy. I'll speak for Jimmy. I think he had fun. Anyway, folks, finals next week. How about that? We'll see you in Jerry World.